about cliched photography? You think a few things are getting too cliche now? What can you... This is going to be fun. What do you think is the most cliche form of photography currently? I'm going to go with two different things. I'm going to go with like a hot chicks and like a shabby abandoned buildings where the paint's peeling and like the windowsills have dead rats in them. That's getting a little effing cliched. It's like, oh look, there's a supermodel in an abandoned building. Yeah. What do you think is the most cliched form of photography? HDR is right up there. You know, eventually there's going to be a revolt. I saw in somebody else's video this crazy chick. She had a tripod, but she didn't use it. She put a book on top of her tripod, and she used her camera. She used her camera on the top of that, and she'd walk off. Man, that thing would just fall right to the floor. Someone called her 99% graphic artist and 1% photographer because she'd take a picture, and it didn't have to be that correct in the light. I mean, she had an Intuos pad. I mean, 99% of what she did was in the computer. Now that's valid. I've not got anything against that, but you know, ultimately that's no different than dodging and burning, right? A lot of the other stuff we did back in the days of film. What line do you cross where, because all photography is a lie anyway, okay? It's all a lie. But when you have to sit there with pen and pencil, you're not talking about moving sliders anymore, okay, or doing masks in Lightroom. We're talking about like radically moving crap around. Is it still photography? That's a tough one, right? HDR photography. Getting a little old, maybe. It's like you getting a little sick of the HDR photography. What about too many pictures of passed out drunken guys that have peed themselves with beards? It's like, ooh, there's a drunken homeless guy. He's peed his pants. Well, do you think that there's any branch of photography currently that's too cliched? You know? Has it like worn its welcome out on the eyeballs of everybody else? Have we gotten too jaded? Are we just too jaded? What about like now the crazy dresses of couture, haute couture, and fashion photography? That's not going to change. I mean, they're really radical outfits, but here's something else I think is a little cliche, like sticking like a half-naked chick in the street and like putting an apple on her head while she's like got a pink poodle in one arm and like a sex toy in the other. It's like, it's like that is a weird picture. I think weird has gotten slightly cliched. Maybe not too cliched. I mean, if it's really, really original, you go like, ooh. But like, hey, I'd like you to strip down and like put on like this kilt. I want you to hold one hand on your breast, and then I want the other hand to be holding a gigantic Cuban cigar. Those sort of pictures. Wait, what sort of crazy crap could I think of? Ooh, I got it. Let us go to the pet store, grab a couple chinchillas, and we'll have, I'm going to hold one chinchilla over your crotch, and then we're going to put the other one on your head, and then you're going to strike a pose. That's the freaky deaky sort of like, oh, that's interesting, because that's usually the response. It does stop you to take a look at the picture, doesn't it? Hey, if it's well lit and, the model's hot, that works, right? Is that, I'm not saying it's cliche, but is that sort of stuff a little cliched? Is it? We've all kind of gotten sick of seeing, it's like, oh my god, there's another beautiful shot of like the Mona Lisa, or there's another beautiful shot of the Eiffel Tower. Obviously, you got to think of new ways to look at stuff. Here's something that never gets old. like taking a cityscape shot as imagined through a puddle. You know, a greasy puddle. It's like you're shooting the building up here, but you're doing is you're scooting its reflection as perfectly captured in that pothole in the street. That never seems to get old if it's done properly, because a lot of people don't pull it off correctly. Yeah, the harder shots and the more elaborate shots don't get cliched because there are very, very few people that reach that deeply into the creation of the image. And that's really undeniable. And one of the things that people don't reach deeply into, and yet is simple, but nobody really goes there because they're afraid of it, is proper proper illumination of your subjects, and that includes 2 or 3 light sources, even if one is reflected. The ability to very quickly discern lighting ratios. It's not that hard. You can teach yourself how to do it in a day. Well, not really. You can teach yourself how to get into it in a day. So I take that back. But what about cliched photography? What do you think is the most cliched photography? Today's been really tough on me, man. The phone's been ringing off the hook. No, it was not government agencies. It was just like people picking my brain. And a couple of people that have called many times before, it's like, you know. The telephone. I'm not a fan of the telephone. And I definitely don't like texting. Nobody send me a text message, by the way. I cannot stand text messaging. It's just it's so vile. Don't like text messaging. Cliched photography. What do you think? I can hear the clock ticking in 3 different rooms right now. It's very quiet in here. Thanks. Bye.